One very interesting thing that I found out was your close partnership with OpenAI even before they released ChatGPT.
Yeah, we were partnering with them on our AI stuff, and when this thing came up, the partnership even went to the next level.
And what is that one thing you like about OpenAI collaboration?
Apart from OpenAI, we also have very active partnership with NVIDIA. We are building, some of the computer vision work for our stores. We're also, working with Google.
As a leader from the top-down approach,
Yeah.
what is that value that you actually look in them?
For example, with NVIDIA, we are partnering in getting the GPUs that they provide, right? We are always looking at what problems are we solving for our customers.
I think it's one of the state-of-the-art framework that you guys have built, but not many know.
Ultimately, the goal was to be an omni-channel retailer. That's the vision, right?
Like the advice for youngsters, right, who are getting into this particular field.
But I would say, if you plan to get into data science or into AI, the foundation has to be strong.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talks. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Amit Kapoor. He is the VP of AI and Analytics at Lowe. Welcome, Amit.
Really, really happy to be here.
Amit, you have been with Lowe for more than a decade now, and you've seen the entire evolution of how the digital transformation is happening, how the analytics evolution has happened, and the AI evolution that is happening now and then. You have close to about 40 to 50 AI models. You've deployed them in production successfully and running them in the back end there. One very interesting thing that I found out was your close partnership with OpenAI even before they released ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That was something I didn't know, and I think the world also has not heard about it. And also, you mentioned about OpenAI releasing its blog. Can you tell me the uniqueness of the partnership?
It's a great question to start off our conversation. I think we've been very fortunate to work for a company like Lowe, right, which is continuously investing in innovation. And as part of that, we have a team called Innovation Labs, which works with companies that are coming up with new and disruptive technologies. And as part of that activity, I think we started partnering with OpenAI maybe a few years even prior to launching of the ChatGPT in November of 2022. So we were partnering with them on our AI stuff, and when this thing came up, the partnership even went to the next level. So, we started working with them on one of our problem statements, which was around our product data quality.
Wow.
And using prompt engineering, using some of the fine tuning that we did on their models, we were able to improve the quality of the data that sits on our Lowe's.com. And eventually it helps our customers in terms of their journeys. When they search for our product, they get accurate products. And it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win for OpenAI. It's a win for Lowe's. It's a win for our customers as they go and search for products. They're able to look at the accuracy of the products and buy products from us. So that has been the partnership. And you mentioned the blog that OpenAI wrote. For that work that we did with them. The journey continues with them in terms of leveraging their enterprise ChatGPT capability for our productivity initiatives. As well as some of the other work that we are doing with them on some of the other models that we are building.
Very interesting. And what is that one thing you like about OpenAI collaboration? I'm sure you're partnered with a lot of companies, all the big ones there. So each partnership has a different thing to bring on the table, right? So can you share some more partnership beside OpenAI? How is OpenAI's partnership unique? And then all the other partnership, and how it is helping Lowe's unleash this technology capabilities for its customers and its stores out there and distribution centers out there.
Very recently, if you heard our earnings call for the Q2, right, our CEO spoke about some of our AI, partnerships that we have. So apart from OpenAI, we also have very active partnership with NVIDIA.
Correct.
We are building, some of the computer vision work for our stores.
Wow.
In partnership with NVIDIA's, we leverage some of their inference APIs that they have. We also are working with them on some of the other products that they have, apart from their GPUs, right? So which everybody is aware of. So that's one partnership that we have. We're also, working with Google on some of the stuff. So I think that's what we do. We are trying to make sure that, in the AI work that we are doing, we are leveraging the strengths of our partners, right? So you were asking me what's unique about some of these partners, but we look at what is the kind of work that we have to do. We always keep the customers in the center of everything that we are trying to do, right? So our intention is to make sure that we leverage the right tools and technologies to build those solutions for our customers. And I'll also tell you, we are also invested heavily in building our own
in-house
platforms, right? So we do have our own in-house AI and machine learning platform built by our engineers, our data scientists, which we are leveraging for some of the products that we are building in-house, like the agentic framework, which everybody speaks about.
Correct.
We are actively working on building our own agentic platform. Our knowledge base, which can sit on with these agents, can be leveraged across the enterprise. So that's the fourth avenue that we use apart from working with various vendors.
So what are certain things Lowe's look into these companies in terms of partnership, in terms of value add, and also at the same time, you mentioned about the in-house capabilities that Lowe's builds in for all the complexity that is happening in the home improvement aspect. So can you throw some light, personally, like you've worked with so many vendors over the years, like as a core value, what do you actually look in these companies in terms of scalability, or is it like something new that everybody's talking about? As a leader from the top down approach, and a customer of these companies, what is that value that you actually look in them?
We are always looking at what problems are we solving for our customers, right? So that's very, very core.
Correct.
Right. For example, if we are building something around computer vision, right? What do we need? What problem are we solving for? And then we map it to, do we have the talent in-house? Do we have the capability in-house to build some of those solutions? And with our partnerships, we look at, what are the complementary skills, right? Which we don't have in-house. Can we kind of get a leapfrog in terms of what we're trying to build, right? Is this something new where we, can partner with our vendors to get that leapfrogging, right? So that's something that's core in our model. For example, with NVIDIA, we are partnering in getting the GPUs that they provide, right? I don't think we can build either GPUs in-house or they are the market leaders in those, right? So with the scale and complexity that we operate in, those are some of the aspects which are very important for us to look at as we build these partnerships. And then sometimes we also partner to look at doing some of the proof of concepts. Is this really working the right direction? Is there synergies in the work that we are doing? And then we take the partnerships to the next level. So very important for us that the problems we are solving for, the companies we work with, they kind of provide cutting edge solutions in those areas that we need to partner with them on.
Interesting. And also, you mentioned like you work on your own POCs and everything, and Lowe's has been instrumental in building omni-channel, order management systems. It has built everything from scratch in-house, and it's leading across 1,700 stores and distribution centers out there. So that's pretty amazing in terms of, so there's a lot happening in that. So could you throw light in terms of how does it, what all challenges that goes into building such solution, and also the ease of deploying it in the production, and what are some of the learnings, and how is it at the moment? And I think it's one of the state-of-the-art framework that you guys have built, but not many know. Could you throw light on that?
Within the retail ecosystem, right, we as an organization, we build products which are core to our business, right? We try to build all of those products in-house, which can give us competitive advantage in the longer run, right? So some of those products like order management you spoke about, we completely built it ground up, from our office here in India. There are many other, that we have built. For example, our cart and checkout engine was completely built out by our team here in India. Another one I'll tell you, Amit, is the self-checkout terminals that sit in our stores. The hardware and the software were completely built out. In partnership, obviously, with our headquarters. We built it out completely from the center. So all these core tech work is kind of right there at the cutting edge of the way it is built out, the frameworks that we have used, the open source technologies that we have used. This was to make sure that we kind of incorporate our business processes which are core to our business, right? And build that in-house, because then you get that flexibility to express yourself as engineers, to build those cool frameworks, cool code components, and also look at reusability across, right? So if you're building something that like an error framework can be used across, your observability, telemetry, logging can be reused across, right? So we kind of conceptualize some of those, components which can be reused across. And ultimately, the goal was to be an omni-channel retailer. That's the vision, right? That
Correct.
if you're placing an order online, you can also, go
Correct.
offline and look at it. And if you're building something offline, you can also see it in the online space, in the contact center space, right? So it's a universal cart kind of concept that we worked on. And as part of that, these, microservices that were built out, right?
Correct.
Order management is a combination of multiple microservices. Similarly, your cart and checkout,
Yeah.
or if you pick up our sourcing engine, which goes and sources products from, any
Correct.
of our RDCs or from vendors.
Correct.
All of those components are built in a smaller Lego block framework, wherein, as the technology evolves, as the business processes change, you can take out a component and, bake in another one, right? Without disrupting anything else. So I think that complete work in terms of many of the systems was built from our office here in India in partnership with our, US teams. And that is reaping us benefits in terms of, seamless operations in our stores, in our online world. And at that point in time, we were leveraging some of the vendor products which had challenges in terms of scalability, in terms of change management, in terms of deployments, in terms of, upgrades, right? So I think we have moved away from all of that in terms of our digital transformation journey and built our own products, which is in turn helping our associates and also helping our customers in the longer run.
Also, you mentioned about self check-in, right? Like that was also built purely from India. The India team has been involved, and that too in the US, like 1,700 stores out there. So there also you mentioned about the challenges, how you coordinated, and I'm sure like you're the man of action, like who gets things done. So as a leader, right, juggling between India and US, getting things happen, and that too, especially when it comes of analytics, the data you collect, and running certain things and making that minor improvement so that it works flawlessly, right? How are you making this happen? Like I know it's very easier said than done. Like people say, like use this tool, use this thing, and it'll be solved. Like, what are you even saying? But getting everything together and and making a beautiful dish out of it, and which is tastes really good, right? So it takes a lot of effort, and you are the chef, like who's making all of this. So how are you managing this, and what is your leadership style? What is your success mantra that you follow? Because everybody talks about pet project, making this tool, making this like adding computer vision some project, so at a very like a passion level. So you from the leadership perspective, like where you are doing a impact at a very large scale, how are you making things happen at that level? So what is your leadership style like?
Amit, I'll tell you, it's a great question, right? And especially in the AI world, right? The word you mentioned, right? A lot of pet projects, right? Or people have their hobby projects, and you do that, right? So, so I think I'll speak from my perspective first. I think one of the things that I think, and I spoke about that earlier also, right? The customer centricity is very important for me, right? And it could be our internal customer or it could be our external customer, right? When I say external, it's our end customers. And a lot of times we're also building stuff which is used by our associates, right? Either in the stores or in the corporate center, right? So it's very, very important that we keep customer in the center. That, level sets a lot of things for you. Secondly, as you do that, right, having a great team, right? I can't do everything on my own, right? So one of the leadership principles I follow very closely is build a great team, empower that team, right? And that team will do wonders for you, right? And that's one of the principles we follow very, very clearly within Lowe's, right? You will see that, leaders are empowered to take decisions. They're empowered to build stuff, to express themselves, and then they kind of cascade that down, right? So there are a lot of engineers that we have, a lot of data scientists we have, business analysts, right? You name it, everybody has that empowerment and the power to express the kind of work that they do. There's a lot of activities that happen, hackathons that we do, right? There are a lot of other engagement events that happen that helps the team build that culture of innovation and creativity, right? So that's the second point. Thirdly, our CEO says it has to be simple and logical, right? That everybody can understand what we are doing, right? So we try to make sure that, your complex things are translated into simplicity and there is logic behind things that you're building, right? And people can understand what you're talking about, not to use too much of jargon, right? We should be able to explain what is that we are trying to do, right? Fourth is, you have to be biased for action, right? In this world, right? So you can't just, say we will do something, but is this all the first three things I said, is this going to go into providing any value back to the customer? Is this going to get deployed in production and then give you outcomes? So we always look at that, and from concept to the idea to action, we try to move faster, right? Go slow. If you have to fail faster, and then regroup and see what is that you need to adjust, right? And lastly, in our world, like things are changing on a daily basis, you have to learn, right? You have to continue to learn on what are the new things that are coming up.
Correct.
If you're not doing that, I think you're going to probably fall behind, right? So very, very key for us to continue to learn. And lastly, I think we tell the team, right, do things, push things to production, give that value, and have fun, right?
Got it.
End of the day, you have to gel together as a team and have fun, right? Otherwise, end of the day, you will do stuff, go home, and it becomes very mechanical.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of engagement activities that we do. There's a lot of fun activities we try to incorporate into our culture.
Yeah.
Both on the social side as well as on the sports side, to make sure that teams are very well engaged.
Very interesting. I think we started this discussion only with innovation labs, and that's the very interesting thing that you put across. So you do these hackathons, these engagements to identify early on like how it can add value to your customers. Very beautifully put. Thank you for those insights. Like the advice for youngsters, right, who are getting into this particular field. You beautifully told how to eliminate noise. Continuous learning is another thing. For someone who's entering this field, right? And has like a passion for what is happening in the industry. So we were just talking like everybody wants to get into the consumer side of business, but there is a very like a enterprise, retail, boring, not interest many of these aspiring people who want to get into data science, analytics, AI. So could you tell them that what is the real differentiating? Why should they get into this field, and why Lowe's, and what is exactly the most happening thing there? And a lot of people focus on consumer, right? So what exactly would you give the advice to them?
Some of the data points I'll throw, right? Being a data person, I will tell you, right? So we interact with almost 16 million customers every week.
Wow. Okay.
Right? We have 1700 plus offline stores. So Amit, I think each of our store is, just to talk about scale, it's about 110,000 square feet in size.
Correct.
Right? And people who are listening to this in India,
correct,
it's like if you've gone to a Decathlon store, right? Maybe 4 times of a Decathlon store is the size of one of our stores, right? So we carry almost around 40,000 products each in our store, and our Lowe's.com probably will have much more, right? In millions, we have our products in Lowe's.com. We carry almost, I don't know, millions of orders every day, right?
Got it.
And we have around 15 very large, regional distribution centers. Our total home strategy talks about our market delivery model, which enables us to deliver to our customers next day or the same day, right? So there are a lot of complex problems that we are solving. We are also integrating, our system so that we can become, overall an omni-channel retailer.
Correct.
And when you look at the scale at which we operate, almost 300,000 employees, right? Making this company run, getting all the products from across the world, making it available at the right time, at the right store, delivering it to the customer, So we do deliveries through our trucks. You can buy online, pick up in store, very, very seamless. And then we also parcel the smaller items back to our customers, right? So each domain that you look at within the retail ecosystem, be it supply chain network, right? Be it our online, website and the technology, be it our data and analytics tools, right? Be it our stores, which is our lifeline for the retail ecosystem. It's a beautiful ecosystem to learn, build capabilities, industry capabilities, right? And the scale at which we operate is enormous. In 2023, we had $86 billion worth of sales, right?
Correct.
And if you just do a weekly math, you can see how much we are selling every week, every day, right?
Correct.
Keeping a pulse of business every day. There's a lot of data involved,
Correct.
a lot of analytics involved. There are pricing algorithms, promo algorithms, order analytics,
Correct.
right? There is finance analytics. So you talk about it, you can really, play a huge role if you want to build a career in retail.
Correct.
A lot of data science, like you said, like we have almost 40 to 50 models that are running right now.
Correct.
Even prior to launch of
ChatGPT.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel it's a great time for somebody to be an engineer or a data science and work on solving some of these industries complex problems and come out with great knowledge, great learning,
Correct.
and also contribute back to not only to the company but also to the industry, right? So
Correct.
so that's, I think that's the mantra. But I would say, if you plan to get into data science or into AI, your foundation has to be strong, and
Correct.
irrespective of anything that you do, right? So you definitely have to start with the foundations, right? Make sure that there's enormous tools and information available out there.
Correct.
There is also a structured way to learn, right? Where do you start?
Correct.
And once you start to learn one thing, you will think, okay, this connects with this connects with this, and then
Correct.
you have to form your own pattern.
Correct.
But I suggest start with foundation, go and build on top of it with the programming language like a Python or a similar language. Then go to your algorithms. Then look at building one of the problems that you want to solve for it, and then get a mentor, right, for yourself, and start learning. Participate in some of the events where you can get to see the real use cases being implemented. All of that, I think, combined can give you a really good head start to begin your career if you are planning to move into data science or AI.
You mentioned very rightly, the foundation has to be strong, the basic has to be right.
Yeah.
But the current kind of trend that is happening, right? So there are a lot of these AI coding tools and much of the things which. So do you use yourself any coding tools like GitHub Copilot or Cursor? Have you tried Cursor, which is there? I mean, you said about the foundation, but what if someone doesn't know coding? So they say natural language is the new coding. What do you have to say for that? Versus, foundation has to be right. You need to know your basic, and still knowing these tools and using them, you need to go back to the basic, right? So now it has become very easy. Like, ChatGPT, you ask like something is error is there, or how do you fix that? So it has become so easy to do things these days. So from your perspective, like how can let me know, are you using any coding AI coding tools like this?
Yeah. See, whenever you have to pick up something new, I believe you should start with foundation.
Correct.
Although eventually you may not end up using that, right? There's a lot of abstraction that's coming in.
Correct.
You rightly said, right? I can go and talk to a large language model and say, I want to build for, and I'll give you an example, right? So let's say I want to build a model to predict if there is going to be a customer attrition,
Got it.
on my customer base, right? Based on certain parameters. Today, I can go to a large language model and say, I'm going to build this
Correct.
model. Can you give me steps to do that?
Correct.
You can get the steps right there.
Correct.
Then if you tell, okay, can you give me the boilerplate code for this? You will get the boilerplate.
Correct.
Then you say, can you give me a full-fledged code, including the test data for this? You will get that.
Correct.
And so you can actually, but you need to know what is the right thing to ask for also.
Absolutely.
Right? And for that, you need to know the foundational stuff.
Correct.
And if you want to be an expert on something, just knowing at a higher level,
Got it.
you can probably scratch the surface, but you will never be an expert on that, right? So
Correct.
So I believe if you really want to be an expert on something and build your career, always learn the foundation, because that's always going to be helpful. And once you know the foundation on one of the technologies, you can kind of relate when the technology changes to the new things that are coming up. You only will have a delta learning to do. Right?
Correct. Delta.
So personally, I do. For example, we have tools in house also. We use open source tools, and we try sometimes. These days, I don't try hands on because of the time constraint.
Correct.
But love to do that. Right? Use any of the open source tools. Build your own code. Build your own modules.
Correct.
And experiment with that. Learning that comes with that, you can never get with anything else.
Got it.
Right? And it sticks with you, right? If you just learn at a higher level, sometimes you end up forgetting things in the
Correct.
shorter to the near term. But once you've done things with your hand, you're never going to forget.
A lot of people are in that notion that if you know these tools, just you type write a code for entire retail thing. I wanted something like that. But the foundation is strong and the experience are right, and the customer pain points. You know how to solve exactly. You look at. Absolutely. So you arrive at the solution much faster, saves a lot of time. Great to know that you've been using a lot of these tools yourself to increase your productivity out there. So also, Amit, I heard you play sport. Used to play sport. You were a hockey player yourself. Yeah. So can you share that journey and how is sports and your leadership aligned together? Like, what went wrong? Why did you still playing?
I used to play hockey, right? And finding hockey players is very difficult, right? Everybody
Correct.
wants to play cricket, right? So
Huh.
I played in my school days, in my college days, and also a little bit in the corporate world. In the Karnataka State Hockey Association Stadium, there's a
Got it.
smaller ground.
Correct.
So from the corporate side, I used to go and play there.
Got it.
I was captain of my college hockey team in Suratkal for 2 years. We used to play a lot of tournaments during that time. I played district hockey in my school days. So, sports is a great leveler, right? It's a
Correct.
great, playground. It's a great place for you to learn, your life skills, I believe. So I think from a learning perspective, if I go back to Bollywood and link sports with that, Chak De is one of my favorite, and there's
Interesting.
lot of inspiration from that movie that you can take, right? So,
Correct.
so in sport, it's also about teamwork, right?
Yeah.
Hockey is a team sport, right? And you have to work hard. You have to work on your basics and the foundations. You have to build a great team. You have to, as a leader, right, and as a coach, as a leader, you have to leverage each of your team members in the right capacity, right? You need to know who's going to be valuable, and everybody is valuable. It's not that, right? But situations are going to be different. And if I go back to, the order management example, when we built the new tool in-house, we leveraged our entire team that was on the legacy side,
Wow.
right? So we transformed the team. We had those opportunities for people to learn new skills, come and, become open source engineers, learn the Lowe's knowledge and build the new system for us. So I thought, with sport, we can translate a lot of those learnings back into the corporate world.
What would Amit be without AI? Is my question.
Yeah.
Or hockey?
Yeah, difficult question to answer, right? But I'll tell you, right? One of the books I read, right, about goals, about whether to, what should you do if you are not able to do with your passion, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times you give up, right? If you have something which is a passion for yourself,
Yeah.
I feel you should try, right?
Got
You should try. You should give it a try. And you were asking me earlier about what's your mantra for success, and I've learned, right. Never ever give up, right?
Got
Never
it.
ever give up, right? So I believe, if your passion is you want to use the as mountain as your goal, right? And if you need to climb a mountain, right? And if you're not able to climb that mountain, you can't, you will not go and say, I'm not going to go on this mountain, I'm going to go on this mountain or this mountain or this, right? You have to first try, right? Give it your 100%, and sometimes things will not work out, then you can probably think of doing something else. But a lot of times I think we kind of move away from that passion because of either fear of failure, or we don't want to try enough.
Correct.
So and sometimes you're lucky that your passion and your job and everything else is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Then it really helps. So I believe you should definitely give it a try if you want to pursue your passion and not give up.
Everybody talks about responsible AI practices and data. I mean, that's the first thing they talk when they get into AI as well. But I think as a leader, you've seen responsible use of these technologies and ethical ways of practicing the data, the real time, how it happens, data sharing and all of that. So what is responsible AI to you, Amit? Because everybody is talking everything, it's a fair use, and some people are worried for no reason, there's a lot of this fear mongering, so they get into the responsible AI very early on. So as a leader who has worked in the space for the last decade or so you exactly understands what is exactly happening, what's responsible use of AI. So what is responsible AI to you, Amit? Yeah.
I think responsible AI is that when you're building your models, when you're building anything leveraging your AI,
correct,
you're making ethical use of your data, right? You're not biased in any way.
correct,
right? So we need to make sure some of those aspects of AI are taken care, right? And there are a lot of examples, Amit. I don't have to tell you that, right? Where it has, intentionally or unintentionally has not gone the right way, right? So I think at Lowe's, we want to make sure that when we are leveraging AI, it is leveraged in the right way. It is not biased in any way. I think those are our intentions, to make sure that we are building and leveraging AI in the right way. And we have our internal practices, we have our internal models to take care of that. We are building tools as we are going forward on our journey of AI to make sure that we can capture if there is any sort of variability or biasness in our models, we can capture that and we can make sure that we can take care of all those things. So I think it's going to be a key aspect in the AI industry, right, as we start to bake in those models, because there is biasness as humans, right,
Correct.
in
Yeah.
many of us, in all of us, right? So we try to make sure that we train ourselves not to have those biases. I feel we'll have to do the same thing with the AI systems also, because it's humans who are training AI, right? So
Correct.
we
Yeah.
have to be very cautious as we bake in our models to avoid some of those pitfalls.
Thank you. That's your AI human Amit Kapoor there. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.